But again, yet again, we've got a ton more Carlton news to talk about right now. There's been so much Carlton news just coming out left, right, and center. Again, as I've been reporting, on the channel, Charlie Curnow requested a trade. Carlton kind of denied it, even though he still wants to go. You're pretty much all caught up with that situation until now, where Mitch Cleary can reveal that Charlie Curnow has met with Sydney coach Dean Cox about a potential trade before departing for the USA on holidays. I mean, yeah, he'd be great for Sydney, but as I've mentioned 100 times on the channel, I can't see a world where Carlton trade Charlie Curnow this year just because the draft is so compromised. A player like Charlie Curnow should give you like 2 top 10 picks in a pretty decent draft, not 1 top 10 pick and a future pick in a draft right now, which is looking highly compromised due to academy players, highly compromised with father-sons, all of the above. So we gotta calm down on that. I don't think he's going to be getting traded, but Carlton are definitely starting to look at some different moves here. Like, there was a report literally just a day ago, which did say that Carlton have major interest in Sam Flanders. The 24-year-old fell out of favour at Gold Coast in 2025 and is being monitored by multiple Victorian clubs, being reported by John Ralph. Now, again, I don't know if falling out of favour is the right way to describe the Sam Flanders situation. The reality with Sam Flanders is that he's an elite midfielder who was playing in an elite midfield, right? They had Noah Anderson, Matt Rowell, Tuke Miller, Bailey Humphries, and a bunch of other players rolling through that midfield. Is Sam Flanders as good as some of those guys? Yeah, he is. But the reality is that Matt Rowell and Noah Anderson are much more efficient at constantly playing in the midfield than they are as playing as a high half forward or playing as a half back. The thing with Sam Flanders is that we know he's got the capability of being a great utility and moving around the ground. So he was the one that had to bite the bullet and actually go and play up forward. He didn't end up actually doing that great in the role, mainly because I think he was kind of checked out on that and he really just wanted to play midfield and it didn't happen. This could be where he's starting to explore now a move to a team like Carlton or St Kilda, who's been previously mentioned, who he'd flourish in their midfield and he'd go back to being an elite midfielder. The issue is that why would Gold Coast want to trade Sam Flanders? They've got him contracted. They know that he's still relatively happy at Gold Coast. And the only reason he would potentially move is for the money and to play midfield. But Gold Coast might be like, well, that's kind of selfish. So we're going to be selfish and we're going to say, look, you've signed this contract. We know you're happy at Gold Coast and you love being in the team. We know you've got a problem here, but we want to win a premiership and we need you to compromise and play forward for us and then go on the midfield if a guy gets injured. That's what they're going to say. They don't need to move him. They don't need to rush this at all. This is the first time ever Gold Coast have been a very good footy team. They don't need to move players for no reason just because the guy wants to go play midfield. No, they know he's happy at Gold Coast and they're probably going to say that to him. They're going to be like, look, it's not like you're unhappy here. We'd move you if you were maybe like desperately wanting to go back to Vic because you were super homesick. You're not. You like it here. You like the boys here and you signed a contract to stay because you liked it here. Gold Coast don't have to move him. That is the whole point and why I don't think that's going to happen. So I think Carlton might strike out on that one. Plus, you're definitely going to need a first round pick and a good player to move on because Sam Flanders, Gold Coast know he's an elite midfielder. So yeah, they're not going to give him away for cheap and Carlton don't have much assets. So again, they're going to be getting some stuff back though because from all reports, Jack Silvani is going to be leaving the team. We know he's going to be leaving. He told them he wants out. St Kilda have an offer ready for him on about 800 to 850k a year. And that was being reported by Tom Morris. So I wouldn't even be surprised by the time making this video if Jack Silvani has nominated St Kilda. So if he has, which he probably has, the medical is pretty serious, then that's a great signing for them. A pretty big loss for Carlton, but the reality is that Carlton losing to Koning and Silvani is kind of a godsend at this point because they were absolutely not going anywhere. They had a really, really bad and slow rebuild that once completed it was completed way too late for a lot of their players, and they were only able to have a 2-year run just because of the age demographic of a lot of their players. It didn't work well. They didn't keep depth well. They didn't develop the young players well enough compared to other teams, and they only had a 2-year final run. They're back nowhere near the 8 at the moment, and they're losing their best players outside of like Patrick Cripps and Curnow because their salary cap is so tight. Bad list management and losing these guys, and these guys have given up on the club because they know they're not going anywhere now. So it's back to square one for Carlton, unfortunately, and the fans know it. They know it. They're losing Silvani and they're losing De Koning. Now the thing is, you get these picks in for them, through priority, and you got to make sure you capitalize on them. You can't be drafting players like, Paddy Dow and Sam Petrovski-Seton now. You actually have to hit these draft picks or shit's going to hit the fan again. So I think they're going to be hopefully doing that. They already drafted pretty well last year with Jagger Smith. They just got to continue. Again, I know Smith hasn't played a game yet. Not his fault. I think he'll be a star going forward. But yeah, they're going to have other players that are going to be going. Talked about on the channel before. Blake Acres is supposed to be seeking other opportunity. They've flat out just told Elijah Hollins to seek a trade after all the issues and reports have been going around him. They have just flat out told him, we don't want you to be a Blue anymore. Time to move on. So that's, of course, happening. But again, the other one here, which I think is a cool option, is that they're going to be getting some picks back. They're going to be losing like 4 or 5 players at this point. It actually is being reported that Carlton are circling West Coast first-round pick Campbell Chesser as they eye more athletic ball users for 2026. 7 News understands that Chesser is weighing up an approach from the Blues or recommitting to the Eagles where he has a 2-year contract offer. Again, I don't necessarily think they're going to get anyone. I sit here and think that with all the players that are leaving, I think a lot of players aren't going to be trusting to come to Carlton, and they're going to have to really take a step back and find who they are in 2026. And for all we know, Carlton might not be going to complete shit like some people are tipping them to go to. I mean, next year they should still have good players like Cripps, Curnow, I think, Sam Walsh, Jagger Smith, Harry Mackay, I think, and Jacob Wiedering, right? If they actually drafted well and maybe picked up some smaller guys, like a Malcolm Rosas, who has been reportedly mentioned. Again, Malcolm Rosas, he can't get a game at Gold Coast, and I think he's probably better than all of Carlton's small forwards. So you pick up these little guys who maybe are seeking more opportunity and get them in, and maybe you could have a different thing, a fresh opportunity. If you could get a Campbell Chester though, I mean, 100% you're going for it. I think they need to bring in some good youth and, again, some athleticism, some good ball users as well. Their ball use last season was horrendous. You 100% need to make some slight changes and do a couple things different here. But yeah, I do fear the worst for Carlton, and I think it's going to be an interesting couple years, to say the least. So we're definitely going to have to wait and see how this, of course, all does unfold. Again, I'd very much like to hear all your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. How do you guys think Carlton are going to go in 2026, and how are all these other teams going to be going in the trade period? All of the above. Again, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to the channel for all those AFL content and AFL news. My gaming/movie channel, which will be getting linked down below. My IRL/vlogging, my Instagram, all of them will be getting linked down below as well. And I guess I'll be seeing you guys next time. Goodbye.